Good morning, everybody. It is July 31st, Friday morning at 10 a.m. We're going live. We're gonna talk a few little updates here and there. What's going on with the market? Kind of current things happening here in Phoenix. So stay tuned. What's up, everybody? It's Greg Corbett with the AZ Lifestyle Group right here in Phoenix, Arizona. If this is your first time to this channel and you're looking to find out everything you need to know about what it's like living in and or moving to the Phoenix metro area, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you can be notified whenever we post a new video. And we are helping people from all over when it comes to finding the best places and neighborhoods to move here, and we absolutely love it. So if you're even considering making a move and you need any assistance whatsoever, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, however you want to get a hold of us. We got your back when it comes to moving to the Phoenix metro. All right, so let me go ahead and bring our friend Rudy with Prime Lending in. Rudy, what's going on? How are you this morning?
Good. How are you doing, Greg?
Good. It's been a crazy week, busy week. I know it's probably been the same for you, especially at end of month.
Yeah, month end is, it's a great problem to have, right? If I can get everything done before the last 5 days of the month, that would be a perfect scenario. But unfortunately, the real world doesn't work that way. And month end is usually just fire drill after fire drill. But it's great, like I said, great problem to have.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to the weekend. I'm glad that the actual business month end is on a Friday, so
Right.
that over the weekend we can probably relax for a few minutes.
Yeah, good point. And it's funny. I mean, for those of you who are out there who are watching us and are like, well, why does it matter what's going on month end? It's funny in general. Like, we go through this each month, but it's funny how people just tend to schedule like a lot of their closings, whether we're talking like refinances or purchases for sure, to the month end. Like, everybody just kind of schedules like that, and then it just becomes chaos always. So sometimes it's for the best. I know, especially when it comes to certain things, it just kind of makes sense to plan for that financially. But I know from a stress point of view, if you can make it a little easy or make it a little earlier in the month, it makes things a little easier on everybody.
That's a good point. Excellent point. And also, I will add to that, on a Friday also, most 99 out of 100 times, everything works out just fine. However, that one time, and you have it scheduled on a Friday, and you've got the U-Haul truck ready to go when something maybe goes sideways, and you have to wait until Monday to officially close and get the keys to your house, that could potentially cause more heartburn than you probably were anticipating. So not only do you want to maybe do it a little bit earlier, or not so quite at the end of the month, but maybe try to avoid a Friday if you can. Yeah. Sometimes you can't avoid it.
Yeah, well, and that brings up another good point, because I think a lot of people just think everything's going to go 100% smooth, and the date that they choose is going to be the date that everything happens, which we do everything we can to try to make that happen. But there's so many moving parts, and I try to do the best I can of setting the right expectations for people to say, hey, look, we're planning on this date, but because we're relying on so many people to get all of this done, and everybody's got to be working in 100% coordination, please give yourself a buffer and just in case. Don't plan on moving your furniture in that day. Don't plan 30 days in advance, because the more you plan, the less likely it's to happen. That's typically how it goes. Yeah.
Right. And if you're out there wondering, well, what could possibly go wrong, or what are some of the issues, for example? The answer is like, it can be anything. But for the most part, what's going on right now is, due to COVID, there's been a lot of delays on a lot of things. For example, appraisers are taking now, where you could get an appraisal back in days sometimes. Now 7 to 10 days is pretty standard. You can ask for a rush and pay a little bit more and get it back faster than that. But an appraiser is third party, we don't have any control over the appraiser, neither does the buyer nor the seller. So that's someone that you have to rely on. Insurance, homeowners insurance. Sometimes before COVID, they would get us information back usually same day. Now it can take up to 2 days to get information from them. underwriting, when your file is ready to be submitted to an underwriter, it could be, usually it could take, a day or two. Now it can maybe be 3 or 4. So that's,
and you know
I know it
what,
doesn't.
everything that you're totally bringing up is possible, and that's only just on the lending side. That has nothing to do with like potentially the seller can't move out in time, or like anything going on the real estate side, which I know you guys a lot of times are like 100%. You got everything behind the scenes worked out, and then all of a sudden like something happens and the seller's like, hey, I can't move out until next week because of whatever situation. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's funny you say that, because actually last month I had a client who the sellers, the night before closing, still had it. You would have guessed that they hadn't even moved a box in that house. Like, not one piece of furniture had been moved yet. The night before closing. And
doesn't make for a fun walkthrough.
No. And so then the next day when they closed, they had to push it a little bit later in the day to give the sellers enough time to get all their stuff out of there. So there's the multitude of situations that we can go back and forth on, but that's just a couple of them.
And that's if they don't mess up anything on their way out, moving out too. So yeah.
Oh yeah, fun times. This is fun times.
Lots of fun. I think, and I as an update, obviously, I think everybody's probably heard this. If you haven't heard it from us, you've heard it from everywhere else. Arizona is still crazy right now when it comes to the real estate market because of the little amount of inventory, and we still have a lot of buyer demand, whether that's people coming in still from out of state or just in state here, like people trying to figure out what their next move is with being stuck at home for the next several years potentially, or however long. I mean, it's just a crazy situation right now. Kids being homeschooled, kids having, or basically learning online and all that type of stuff. I don't think, I'm still wondering like what's going to happen with the school year, and I think it's constant. It's like day by day an update. So we keep hearing that they're going to try to send kids back to school, and then they're like, well, we're going to keep kids online for the first month or two, and then we're going to reevaluate. So I know with our, we've got an 18-month-old. We're trying to get her back into like a daycare mid-August. But and Rudy, you've got a 2 or 3 month, right? 2-year-old and 3 month.
Right, so, 2 and 3 months.
So, that's right. So I get, you guys aren't in the school systems yet, but are you hearing anything from anybody else you're talking to, any other parents regarding school stuff?
So one of my coworkers, their school apparently is going to start on time, which is a huge benefit. Ours, for our 2-year-old daughter, we just enrolled her in a school, and it's gotten pushed back 2 months, 1 month right now. So she was supposed to start August 15th. Now it's September 15th. And that, like, to your point, seems to be the norm right now.
Yeah.
And, I wish we all had a crystal ball to figure something out, but you just have to roll with the punches and do the best you can right now. But luckily, I think we've been going through enough now with COVID that we're starting to kind of understand the situation a little better. Where I think, in some ways we might be a little more understanding of some of these delays, even though they're still frustrating. So, so it's kind of a different scenarios for different school districts, but that's mine right now. 1 month so far that it's been delayed.
And I know, I'm sure everybody would like to get their kids back to school as best they can, but they want it to be safe. And I think everybody's sympathetic to the teachers as well, and understanding it's like, hey, you're putting your kids out there potentially at risk, but also if you're a teacher and you're having to deal with all these new processes and systems that the states are putting out there to be like, hey, you gotta work under these guidelines, and it's got to be extremely difficult for them. Can't have enough gratitude for our teachers right now that are kind of pushing through this. The same with the healthcare workers. And there's so many people who are going through massive amounts of change because of what's going on right now. And everybody has their frustrations of being like, hey, we're stuck at home together, and like we'd like to have our kids going back to school and put them in a better environment, but I do think about everybody else who's going through tougher situations for sure.
Yeah, there doesn't really seem to be one right answer also, which makes the situation even more difficult and frustrating because whatever side of the fence you're on, you're right. I
Yeah.
feel like there's no real one answer to solve everything. And so, yeah, you just kind of have to keep taking it day by day and looking at the results and looking at the facts and making your decisions based on that.
Yeah, 100%. Let's. I do want to take a quick little amount of time here. Again, our channel's so new, and we have a really awesome followers so far, and we continue to grow. And for those of you out there watching, whether it's live or whether you watch this later, thank you for following your support. It means the world to us. Again, we're trying to do our best to give you information that is hopefully valuable, especially if you're coming in from out of state or out of country and you're trying to find out information about Arizona, kind of the important things that are important to you and your family. We're trying to help provide those details to you. Please ask questions, send comments, let us know how we can help you. Let us know what video content we can put out. It's been, I gotta be honest, it's been a little crazy, and I've been a little bit slower with uploading new informational videos. I'm going to be working on that as best I can. We're going to be doing some stuff together, Rudy and I too. So we'll keep plugging that. But again, thank you guys for watching out there, and keep sending us questions. Rudy, I'm trying to think of it's funny because I was like, we talked about this before we started doing these live, and like, hey, it'd be fun to tell people about current events going on, like what's happening in Arizona in August coming up, what's happening over the weekend. And I'm like, with all this COVID, I'm like, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Like, I look at I'm like, I guess everybody's just staying at home. Like, I mean, the restaurants are still open to like go hang out, but like, there's not really a whole lot to do.
Well, yeah, I think I'm going to maybe grill a steak over the weekend and just stay at home and enjoy family time. That's what's going on.
Right. Like hit current events.
In this Scottsdale area.
It's like, okay, well, cool. Like I looked at the news real quick and like, I'm like, okay, right. Is there anything to share with anybody? Like, I mean, obviously, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We finally have a baseball season, kinda. I mean, right, kinda. The Diamondbacks are horrible so far, but I don't know what to. If you have other teams, I hope you guys' teams, whoever's watching out there, is doing better than the Diamondbacks. We've got the Suns in the bubble, and I don't know if that's officially started yet. It sounds like they're going to be able to keep everything good. Baseball's strange to me because I think the Marlins already have their entire team with COVID at this point. So, what are you hearing on the sports side? We'll talk sports because it's fun. Why not?
Yeah, so I'm a huge baseball fan. I may have mentioned it before, but yeah, baseball is still kind of, you're walking on a fine line because you started the season, you're trying to practice social distancing, avoiding high fives and wearing a mask when possible, and then the Marlins come out with 17 to 20 players, I believe, that have tested positive, which is not a good start to this already very crazy and tumultuous season. Right. So who knows if baseball will still even be going on next week because of what's going on. And you're right, the D-backs aren't off to the best start. We're just kind of hanging on to anything that we can at this point when it comes to sports. I don't know how many classic baseball games from 20 years ago I've watched already that,
Have you been watching? 'Cause I haven't watched a game yet with all this going on. But have you been able to watch anything?
So yes, there's a restaurant right down our street here on Hayden. It's a little, I think it's a franchise, Detroit Coney Grill, and it's a great spot for our family because it's right down the road from our house, and they have a bunch of big screen TVs. The employees are super nice, and I could watch my ball game and also enjoy a meal and have our daughter run around.
All right, enjoy her I've never been there. I might have to meet you there one time.
Yeah, you can fall off the deep end and eat as unhealthy as you want, or you can even have a really good grilled chicken salad. Right. So that's a good little mixture of the two. It's nothing fancy, but it's actually a great place.
You're probably the healthy guy, aren't you?
well, after my wife, so when my wife was pregnant, the last 3 or 4 months or so, we were putting down about a pint of ice cream every single night before going to bed. And as you can probably you probably imagine, I gained a few pounds. So I'm now starting to work my way back down to a more respectable weight. So
we went through the same thing. I get it. Yeah.
you got to be a supportive husband, right?
Right. Otherwise, life is a little more challenging.
I did. Yeah, it really is. One thing that I read earlier in this week regarding to, I don't mean to get off topic here, but on real estate, I read that a lot of investors that own rental properties, whether they're short-term rentals or long-term rentals, are now selling these properties because there's been a moratorium on rent. So some of these tenants have not been paying their rent.
Right.
And these investors actually are now selling these homes and taking their cash from their equity, as opposed to just waiting around to see when they're going to start collecting rent payments. And what this has caused is less rental properties available on the market, which is causing rental rates to go up, which is then causing more people to want to now stop renting and go buy a house, which is then causing even more pressure on the demand side. And there's already a pressure on the down for the supply side. Yeah. And I found it really interesting because I never thought about investors in having an impact on today's market as they probably are having. So, and Scottsdale, Phoenix area, they're being a resort town here. You get a lot of rental properties that are available, and some of these folks are selling, and rents are starting to increase, and that's increasing the amount of people that want to buy houses too. Yeah,
well, and it's interesting because it's like, okay, if you've got people who have these investment properties that have current tenants in them that aren't paying, and they're trying to sell them. I mean, I would imagine they're trying to sell them with the tenants in there, and then they're basically leaving it up to the new buyer to figure out how they're going to work with the tenant moving forward. That sounds like, so I'm sure there's people savvy enough to figure that out, and there's and there could be an upside potential on that for buyers who are looking to do that. I would imagine people who are owner occupant looking for their primary residence might not be able to want to manage that kind of situation, but that'll be interesting to watch and kind of see if it opens. We need inventory, so it's good. Like if they decide to sell and we need more houses, that's good. But it'd be interesting to kind of see. Thankfully, I haven't had anybody looking and had that situation come up where they're like, "That's the house for me, and I want," but we've got a tenant that's not paying. So. Yeah, it's crazy times. Like every day is something new that haven't even thought of before. I'm trying
I haven't ran across that either. But you're probably right. It would probably be another investor possibly trying to buy that house. Yeah. You bring up a good point on the tenants already being there.
Yeah. I'm sure rates are still great. I mean, everybody's talking about rates every day is still being like historical lows as we hear a lot. So anything that we need to share with that there? Or?
Yeah, so I've been quoting rates in the high twos right now, 2.875, 2.99 on credit scores in the 770 and up range. FHA loans, even if your credit score is in the mid to high 600s, those rates are still in the low threes. So really broad range of opportunities if your credit score falls in these parameters where you can still take advantage of these extremely low rates. And it's there's just so much opportunity right now for refinancing. And obviously if you're looking to buy a house, it's just, I in my opinion, it's going to continue for a while, especially with the election going on. There's a lot of uncertainty, which probably won't mean that rates will go up. Try to keep the economy as stable as possible. Considering everything that's going on. So rates will probably stay low for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. Well, that's good news for people who are buying. I mean, good news for sellers too. I mean, obviously, sellers right now, you should have plenty of advantages if you're looking to move. Obviously, on the buy side, you're going to have a lot of competition. And you just got to be prepared for that. looking for deals is hard right now. If you're looking for deals, it's not like they don't exist, but you got a million people looking for deals. So right now, I think most people are just like, hey, we're not looking for the deal. We're looking for the best house that suits us, that we can try to put an offer in that makes sense and try to work something out. So we'd obviously do everything we can to help everybody out, kind of guide you through that. And every single neighborhood, city, every situation is going to be a little bit different. But if you have any specific questions regarding different areas across the valley, we'll do the best we can to guide you. Let's go. Since last week we talked to you when you were up in Flagstaff, that was kind of just when you had popped up there. How was the rest of the weekend? Tell everybody, especially because we actually had nice weather last week, and I haven't even talked about this. We had record high heat yesterday. It hit like 116 in Phoenix, maybe like 118 at the airport. So that was fun. And I think it's probably supposed to be the same today. But how was the rest of the weekend in Flag?
It was absolutely beautiful. I think the temperature was in the high 70s, low 80s during the day. Nice. Went down to the 50s at night. Flagstaff is only about an hour and a half ish away from Grand Canyon, the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Yep. So we visited for the day.
Nice.
So much to do. It was a little strange we were there Friday and came back Sunday. So Thursday to Sunday. The Friday when we went to downtown Flagstaff, almost all the restaurants were closed, almost. And so the few that were open were not obviously at full capacity. So it was a little bit of a different experience, but nonetheless to kind of escape the heat for a little bit. And I sound like a broken record, but only 2 hours away from here.
Yeah.
And being able to just kind of get some reprieve was a breath of fresh air.
Well, it's huge, especially when you have little ones. I mean, to try to be on the road constantly with little ones, it's hard to do. So to have that 2 hour sneak away and kind of get away. Right. And actually my wife and I went up last Saturday to Camp Verde. So almost pretty much on the way to Flagstaff, and looked at that. That's I'd never been there. It's such a cute little town. Really, really cool houses, like a nice little downtown area, a little bit of a break away from the heat. It's kind of almost heading up towards Sedona, so you're not Flag weather where you've got the elevation that really cools you down a little bit, but definitely a lot cooler than what we have right here. So hour and a half to get up there. So we do have thankfully a way to get out of town, break away from the heat. The traffic's crazy right now because, of course, nobody has anything else to do. So they're like, hey, let's get out of the heat. So, the I-17's crazy, probably going up to Payson, Pine, Strawberry, going up the Beeline Highway, anything going into Prescott or Pine Top and all that. All that stuff's a little busy right now, but it's the beautiful views, weather's nice and that type of thing. So it's solid.
One thing I will say.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say one thing. If you're thinking about moving here and you're from another state, depending on which state you're coming from, you might all of a sudden acquire a lot of friends and families that want to come visit you. That's what has happened to us. Moving from Dallas to here. When we were in Dallas is cool. Dallas is a great city, one of the largest cities in the country. But we never really had anybody that wanted to visit us to Dallas. Now that we're living here, we should turn our house into a short-term rental ourselves because my family, friends, my wife's family and friends are always in town to visit, and
nice.
And then we take them to places like Sedona and Flagstaff. So if you move here, just be ready to start hosting a lot of people if you haven't already.
So we were talking cons of moving to Arizona. So everybody's going to show up at your door.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of visitors.
Yeah. I know a lot of you probably love your family and want them to come visit and that type of thing. For some of us, it's a pro. For some, it's a con. It depends on your family, I suppose. But,
that's exactly.
It sounds like it's a pro for you, Rudy. So that's good.
Yeah, actually, for once, it's kind of cool feeling like you live in a cool town where people actually want to come see you, and it's actually for me, it's a good feeling.
Nice. All right, brother. Well, I know. Again, I know you're scrambling like crazy. We don't have any questions coming in right now. I feel like we've given everybody a little bit of information on what's going on for the week. And anything you want to leave anybody with?
No, but just, please, I know we've said this multiple times on our calls and videos, but start the process early. It's really never too early. I know that might sound a little off, but if you're even thinking about it, call Greg, call me. Like you said, we've got your back to make sure that you're well educated and well informed and ready to go once that time is right.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there will ever be the perfect time. So you might as well just go ahead and start looking now and start getting those questions answered, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that is going to be thrown at you, and it's better to have enough time to dissect it all before you actually have to pull the trigger.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. I put contact info on screen, so either one of us reach out if you have any questions. We'll do our best to guide you. Again, if you haven't heard this before, a lot of the best thing to do is to jump on a Zoom call with us all and just kind of have like a quick, cool chat. No pressure, just kind of getting to know you, trying to figure out what your wants and needs are, and figuring out a game plan, whether that's 2 months, 6 months, 12 months plus. It's all good either way. And like Rudy said, the sooner you start planning, the better. It just will help you so much more to be prepared when the time is right. So, cool. Well, Rudy, thanks again as always, brother. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully you get through today. Everybody closes who needs to close. Get through all the stress of that so you can enjoy the weekend. And thank you, everybody out there watching. Everybody else, stay safe. Have a great weekend. We'll see all of you next week. Take care.
Thanks, Greg.